Look, my palate's not. It's not very refined, right?
Sure.
At all. I was having this conversation with Aaron Daly, and and new guy Kyle, right, who's also super beer nerd, and he's like, "Oh, I taste this, and I taste papaya, and whatever." I'm like, I don't think you could put papaya in front of me. I would put it in my mouth and then be able to tell you that that's papaya.
Think that's mango? Yeah,
right.
That'd be tough. I don't know. Some people have the gift, I guess. Inspired by the adventures of our nurses, therapists, and techs, A Beer with Atlas is the only healthcare traveling, craft beer drinking podcast. Each week, we'll open a few beers, talk about the brewery and the style of beer, and then dive into some research curated specifically for each episode. In the end, we hope each one sounds like a conversation you'd have with your friends while enjoying a few cold ones.
Welcome to another episode of A Beer with Atlas. I'm Rich.
I'm Brian.
I'm Dolan.
He forgot where he was.
He's already gotten into the beers.
Sorry, I was into the levels there.
Turning the dials, as you used to say.
Did you ever work at a radio station, like when you were younger, like an actual radio station?
Who has?
Well, me, I did.
Okay,
I
no.
did. Like I would have to, with carts and stuff, you'd have to like plug the cart in to play commercials and stuff like that.
No.
There would be a sign that would light up that said, like, if you were, or there was a bulb, it was a light bulb. If there was dead air, the bulb would light up. Like
you don't want dead air.
You do not want dead air. The bulb lit up there for a second when.
I wish.
Before. This was an actual thing.
Yeah,
it's an actual thing.
Okay.
So
I was like, is that a normal job people have? Did you work at the radio station?
In high
No.
school. I did in high school. This was 30 years ago.
Speaking of dead air, I listened to a college radio station here. Everybody knows it, 89.7, right? If you're in the area. And this would have been like 2 or 3 years back. And I switched to the station and there was nothing there. There was nothing there.
Uh-oh.
Like, what the heck? And I kept switching back. There was nothing. And then, like, I don't know, went inside the gas station, came back out, turned on my car, and it was there. I was like, woohoo. Totally found out. Like, I was cussing the radio. I was, like, pissed off because I wanted to
wanted to hear some jams.
I wanted to hear some jams. Like, what the heck? And turns out that they were doing 5 minutes of silence for something very awesome.
Don't you feel like the asshole now?
You're like,
Yes.
that sucks. Wow.
I want to hear Blink 182.
No.
Yep.
All right, this has nothing to do with Oktoberfest, but today starts our Oktoberfest month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Month-long Oktoberfest bonanza.
I've already done some research on Oktoberfest beers personally at home, so
Well, sure, yes.
I've hit my stride well right now. I think peak time.
Yeah, I've had a number from Colorado. I've had Sam Adams, of course, because it comes out in like July.
Yes, it does
normally, and so as soon as it comes out, I start drinking it and start wearing hoodies and sweaters and stuff like that. Doesn't matter what the temperature is.
It's been hot until today. I was a little brisk.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's all right. So the beer today is called Drunkel Tim Munich Dunkle from Briler Brewing in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Good old Drunkel Tim.
Drunkel Tim.
Yep.
Is that like Uncle Tim, drunk Uncle Tim?
Drunk Uncle Tim. Yeah.
Is he really a drunk uncle? I mean, is that...
Well, I mean, he's the head brewer.
Yep.
And I know he has no kids of his own. So I'm guessing he's probably an uncle somewhere along the lines.
Gotcha.
And he looks good in a Lederhosen on that can label.
Yes, he does.
I think last year they only had one photo of him on there. So they've upped the ante. I can see at least two. Is there two or three?
There's three.
Yeah, so they've really upped his presence on the label.
So
but
you're really drunk, and there's three of him.
yeah, maybe I'm already drunk, or still, I don't know. Maybe there's just one.
So founded in 2015 by Tim. Do you know his last name? Is it Thompson? Thompson.
Yep.
Thomssen.
Yes.
That's not a normal Thompson spelling.
I don't think so.
He was an established home brewer for years. He was the High Plains Home Brewer of the Year 2013, 14, 15. He was the Midwest Home Brewer of the Year in 2014 and 15. And then finally, he was the Masters Champion of Amateur Brewing Grand Champion in 2014. That's a mouthful. I bet that trophy is giant because it has to get all of that on there.
His basement is pretty legit set up. Yeah.
You've been there.
Uh-huh.
Holy smokes.
Well, he's in the Lincoln Loggers, the homebrew club that I'm, friendly with my brother-in-law.
Nice.
Him and my sister are really good friends with him and his wife, and they go on vacations a lot together and stuff. So I know these guys pretty well.
Being a big Sam Adams fan, this is probably the most impressive to me, and we've talked about this before. He won the Brewing the American Dream. Is that what it was called? It's the Sam Adams Long Shot Award.
Yes.
In 2015 for a Raspberry Berliner Weiss.
Yeah, that was like right when Boiler was getting ready to open, I think. It was right around the same time. So you could go to the Hy-Vee where I did and pick up the 6-pack that had his picture on it.
Yeah.
And it was cool. There's a picture of him and what's the guy's name? Sam?
And the founder of Sam Adams?
Yeah, what's his name?
What's his embarrassing?
Koch. What's his last name?
Jim Cook.
That's it.
Took me a second there.
There's a good picture of those two guys together.
And I'll tell you why. Because this is Great. This Dunkle is really good.
Yeah, seems thicker.
It
Like
does.
mouthfeel, like usually
Yeah.
they're kind of thinnish, like a brown. This almost has got like a porter feel, and it's very roasty and just delicious overall.
It's super good. I
Yeah.
could drink a lot of this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I think you get a big old stein, and it's great.
5%, right? I mean, it's not that much. 5.2, maybe?
It might be somewhere in there. Here's what I know. My research tells me they have to be between 4.5% and 6%. So
5.6.
can't be too strong.
No, that's not. 5.6 isn't that bad.
It's like this. You got your Marzens, then you got your Dunkels, and then you got your Doppelbox as far as ABV goes. Boop, boop, boop. So we're in the middle
Okay.
of those traditional Oktoberfest styles of beer.
I wanted to know more about a Munich Dunkle in particular. So I looked up a little bit about
Okay.
that. You
Let's
want
hear
to
it.
talk
Yeah.
about that first?
Yeah, go ahead.
And then I got some fun information about Tim himself outside of brewing, which I think is fascinating.
Is it about motorcycle racing?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Holy smokes, this guy's crazy awesome, man. Okay,
Yeah.
anyway, Munich Dunkels. A Munich Dunkle is a malty beer, yes, right? I mean, that's what we got right
Yeah.
now. Now, that's not something to be scared of, right? It's doesn't mean dark or black
Super
or
strong,
right,
bitter.
strong, bitter. That features a deep, complex, rich Munich malt flavor.
I would agree.
There are bready, toasty flavors that often seem like toasted bread crusts or bread crumbs, like you would use in a turkey dressing type
Yeah.
of thing, right? The crusty bread.
Yeah. Almost like a crouton.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yet, the beer isn't sugary sweet. You simply couldn't drink these beers a liter at a time if they were. The bitterness is on the low side, and the malt is emphasized. So that's, I think, why you get the color that you get, and then that it kind of tamps down that sweetness, the sugary flavor. It will have flavors of chocolate, nuts, caramel, and toffee, but without sweetness, harshness, roastedness, or astringent flavors.
Yeah, bitter. You don't want none of that astringency.
No.
This one's really delicious. I gotta say.
I like it a lot.
Like you said, Munich Dunkle has around a 5% ABV, plus or minus. It shouldn't have a bock warming feel to it. It should be a beer that you could drink a ton of.
Yeah.
And
Dolan
that's
was right. You can drink
100%
a lot of
true.
this.
Yeah, you can drink a lot of this.
A lot. So, whew, good, fantastic. I just didn't know. I didn't understand what that was, especially maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I didn't understand what it was.
Let me dump a couple of more nuggets on your palate here.
Awesome.
Original style, a Bavarian beer that was being made around the time, and I had to write this phonetically so I can say it. The Reinheitsgebot, right? We've talked about that before.
Yes, purity.
So that was the purity law. You
Yeah.
can only have those 3 things, right? So that was in 1516. So this was like the popular style of beer at the time. So it's kind of like the OG. It's grandfathered into the thing, right?
Sweet.
So this is one of the standard beers you'll see. Malty. We talked about that.
Oh,
This is something hopefully I'll pronounce it right. Decoction mashing. So this is another process. It's like an extra step they do. So you you boil some of the grains. Once it's been done, you boil them again, return it to the mash, and it raises the temperature, breaks down those cells, and you get more of the starch basically. So you get more of the thickness, the profile of the grain without the extra sweetness because that's kind of boiled out. So it's like a thing that they used to do before there was a thermometer. That's how old this technique is. So they couldn't exactly tell what their boiling point or whatever
Right.
the recipe called for. So they would do this thing to like pump it up, and that was their step that they did. And some people still do it, but now everybody's like, okay, we can see it's in Celsius, this degrees, whatever. So don't necessarily need to do it. It helps lower the bitterness, because if you didn't, on a lot of these, you could be just drinking, coffee, almost like that sort of, which wouldn't be great.
That wouldn't be, no. It wouldn't be the same experience.
The lighter color lagers show up in the 1800s, so for about 350 years, this is what you were getting. This is Oktoberfest beer. This is just beer in general, right?
Fine.
So it wasn't until like some refrigeration or ice techniques where storage was the thing that the beers could, be kept a little longer and they didn't have to be so dark. Some popular Dunkels that we see in the marketplace, because it's not something that a lot of people are brewing. So a lot of them are just like either German traditional style places, which we've talked about, or like imports. So Spaten is one that has one. Lowenbrau, that's a college name for you probably.
Yeah.
Polliner and Einger, which makes some of the best ones in the world. So
All
if
the
you're
above.
at the store and you want to try a Dunkel that maybe your brewery doesn't have down the street, those are some that you might want to try to pick up.
I think if you've ever picked up an Oktoberfest and you enjoy it, like you're like, oh, okay, I would order another one of those somewhere. This is not a stretch. This is right there.
It's just got a little bit more going on.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost biscuity. It's just real bready, but there's a little sweetness, tiny bit.
Yep.
Not much.
It reminds me of, and this is going in the Wayback Machine again, when you would go like to a steakhouse or a nice sit-down place that would serve steaks, right?
Yeah.
And you would get the bread before the meal, and sometimes
dark bread.
Yeah, sometimes you would get that dark bread.
Yeah.
And it was warm still, and oh boy,
With the old school steak knife you cut the bread with and put the butter on.
it was like jammed into this thing, into the when they would bring it to you.
You felt like it was Excalibur.
Yeah. Yep.
Hell yeah. Or even He-Man.
Have you ever done this, Dolan? Have you ever?
Yes.
You know about the dark bread?
I do know about the dark bread. We used to go to the culinary school up at Metro and eat there a ton, and they do that sometimes.
If you're
Sometimes,
lucky.
if you're lucky. And they'll have like, the 5 different types of breads, and then
Yeah.
the butter
Everybody
that
wants
you can.
that dark one. That's the one you gotta hide that. Keep it away from everybody else.
You'd be surprised, though. I think there's a lot of people in my family that don't want that.
Well,
And
get
we're like,
scared 'cause it's dark.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, pass it down.
Try it. You just gotta try.
As long as it's not, what's the pumpernickel?
Oh yeah, I'm not a fan of that one.
Not a huge fan of that.
That was my grandpa's favorite.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I guess that's an acquired taste. It's like as you get older. Why are we talking about being old in this episode? I don't understand.
I don't. Beer's old.
Maybe
The style.
as you get older, you appreciate different foods like blue cheese.
Oh, I love blue cheese.
Say I'm not that old yet.
No,
I was a blue cheese over ranch fan forever when it came to wings. Yeah.
Oh, I'm just now getting into the blue cheese thing. Maybe because I'm over 45.
Are we talking
so.
the dry crumble or are we talking liquid?
Both.
Oh boy.
I'll eat the
Whoa.
dry crumble by it, like out of
He's
the.
eating it out of
Yeah,
Wow,
I
like
love
popcorn.
Interesting.
Let's hear some Tim trivia.
Okay, this is fun. We've had some interesting characters before, right?
yeah.
I mean, we had a dude that was a prince that was
Yeah.
on The Bachelor. We've
Yeah.
got a
Was he in Florida? Is that where he was?
He was a
Yeah.
Florida guy. We had a
Yeah.
professional skateboarder that started.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of crazy guys come from everywhere to brew beer,
Uh-huh.
right? So Tim was heavily involved in motorsports, drag racing, motorcycles. He participated in the land speed racing at the Bonneville Flats.
Yes.
Okay, first of all, that sounds dangerous as hell,
Yeah.
but cool.
You go fast.
Land speed racing. So that's like concrete in motorcycles, right?
Usually it's like flat, like out in the
Yeah.
sand dunes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's usually like kind of packed down ground, but it's just wide open.
Wide open.
Whoa.
Like you
So-
see it a lot in commercials, like
Yep.
car
Okay.
commercials and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Right. Tim is one of a small group of people that have covered a quarter mile in under 7 seconds at 200 miles per hour.
On a motorcycle.
On a motorcycle.
And
200 miles per hour.
And these motorcycles is like the size of this table. Like, it's not like a little...
It's balanced and stuff, right? So you just
Dude, it's legit. Like, if it tipped over, you couldn't pick it up.
That's crazy.
I don't even know how they...
Wow.
He's a big dude. Like, he's pretty tall and stuff. He's got big shoulders. You'd have to be just to hold that
just
thing.
to hold this thing up.
I mean, it's like 5 Harleys tied together is what it looks like.
Jeez.
It's legit.
He's also a lifetime member of the Bonneville 200 mile per hour club, establishing a land speed record of 231 miles per hour driving a Ford Flathead powered Streamliner. The record stood for 20 years.
Yeah, he had the record for a long time.
20 years.
Yeah. In his basement, so when you come down from his house, he lives just outside of town. You go downstairs, and I think it's off to the left. He has like a cool bar with a lot of his own taps. At least back then he did.
Sure.
And then he's got 2 of those motorcycles. Like
In his basement.
in the basement. From what I remember, they're stationed there. They're like welded in place so they don't tip over and kill you.
Yeah.
And I think if I remember, it was a hazy day. I think there's a pinball machine in the middle.
I wonder why. Why was it
Well,
hazy?
it was a homebrew party. And everybody brought their, wares, and then everybody brings out the bottles that you can't get, and it's just a big dick show. Like, who's got the bigger one? And I was a happy recipient of that event.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had those 2 big motorcycles. He had a cool bar. He was showing us all the stuff. He had a sour that had been sitting there for like 5 years. Has this huge like cap on it, which is like almost like foam cap. It was just because he hadn't touched it, and it was like, doing its thing.
Yeah.
And he would just like cut it off every once in a while, and yeah, it was just
No way.
sat there, and yeah, he had beers everywhere. Tap. It was right when Boiler was just getting ready to start. Professionally, you have any information on that?
No.
Okay,
that was
so he used to, I don't know if he was owner or CEO, or I know he worked there for sure. There's this metal fabricating company in Lincoln called TMCO, which was Timco is what everybody called it. So they would do like, if you made any sort of metal products and needed it painted, like powder coating, they would do that. They were the first place in Lincoln that I knew that would like laser cut stuff. So if you wanted a sign made out of a sheet of steel, and you wanted to say Wino Wednesday, you type it in the computer and it would burn it out, and here you go. Nice. Like they did that. Started in like one Quonset building, grew out to be like this multi-million-dollar company.
Wow.
I don't know if he sold it or he just retired. He made enough money that he's like, okay, now I can brew for this is what I want to do now.
Nice.
So he did that forever, and then Boiler started up, and he's there all the time. One of the nicest guys you'll meet. I mean, it's like, most brewery owners are that way, but he's like an extra level of that. Just wants to make sure everybody's having a good time in the place.
Yep.
He had a thing for a while where they might still do it, but it was, I don't remember what the cost was, but you could go down and brew a beer with them.
Okay.
Like you and I could.
Yeah.
So we got for my cousin for her 40th birthday, some of her friends pitched in and did a beer brew, and we got it was a pink beer.
Oh.
So it was like hibiscus, Himalayan sea salt. It was a goza.
Okay.
One of those like mimosa gozas that they have that you got to keep upside down.
Thick.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was called, I think it was like Kimmy Good Times, I think, because my cousin's name's Kim. But we had a big party down there and a beer release, and it was so much fun. And like, they don't have to do that. They don't need that.
Right.
It's more of an event or an experience that you can do, and a lot of fun. They have the main tap room downtown, and then they've expanded down south of Lincoln. So down on the other side, there's another tap room, which is a lot of fun. Rotating through all the times, lots of different kinds of beer. They're kind of known for their stouts. They have a subscription club, like a lot of breweries do, where you pay X bucks and you get, choice of bottles or first chance to buy extra bottles and that sort of thing. So
Nice.
I think Aaron Daly is a member of that.
Oh, he's definitely going at least once a month. He'd be like, "Hey, I'm going to Boiler tonight to get the bottles or whatever.
Yeah.
You want something?" And we go look at the menu, and then, bring me whatever back. And
Yep, he'll do it.
Boiler's one of those places in Lincoln. And Lincoln has a lot of great breweries. There's a lot of great places there. This might be my favorite, and just because it does have that sort of fun in a not in like a goofy way, but fun is like everybody's welcome kind of way atmosphere. 3 years ago, my wife's uncle and I went down to Lincoln to watch the Jayhawks play the Huskers in basketball.
Basketball, yeah.
Yeah. Jayhawks almost lost that game, which was ridiculous. Anyway, fantastic game to go watch. So we start walking, and I'm like, "Hey, Boiler's around here. Let's go down there." So we walked from down. It's within walking distance of of Haymarket.
Yep.
And I go to the bathroom. He sits down at the bar, and I come back, and so he's pushing 70s, in his 70s. He's sitting next to a girl at the bar. She has purple hair. And she's drinking something. He's drinking the darkest beer I think I've ever seen him drink, ever. Because he's a Bud Light dude.
Sure.
All the time. I know if he comes over, I have to have that. And I'm like, Ron, what do you got there? He's like, she told me about this beer, and it has coffee in it. You're like, we got to go, man. I mean, one beer. We're going to have one. Yeah. We ended up having 3. And
that's fine.
It was awesome. It was so fan. But we sat next to these people. We talked to them. We had nothing in common with them whatsoever. Talked to him all night. It was fantastic.
The hottest beer I've ever had in my life was at Boiler.
Hot like
Spicy?
Yeah. Oh, really?
Huh. Yeah, it was like a habanero stout. But it was like, I mean, I've had ghost pepper beers before.
Right.
And this habanero one was so hot. We were pre-gaming for a Husker game. Me and my father-in-law, we got one. We're like, let's split it. We had to buy 2 more stouts just to cut it. We just kept pouring more stout into this one because it was so hot. We were like, it's so good, we can't not drink it.
Wow.
But it was so hot. Oh, my God, it was hot. It was, you would have loved it. One last thing about Tim. If you are lucky enough to go someplace with him.
Okay.
Last time I saw him and were with him was in Des Moines. Every brewery you go to, they know him. Like all the brewers around here. Like you walk in, he's like a celebrity.
Right.
Like the other brewers are like, oh, hey. And so he'll get like things that aren't quite out yet or, a lot of shaking hands and slapping backs, that sort of thing.
Oh.
Like he's just a great beer ambassador.
You get a lot like, there you go. A lot like Scott Strain.
Yes,
Yeah.
like that.
That sort of thing. Ironically, there's an old wives' tale that Scott was integral into helping Tim out.
Could be.
Maybe. You
Could
never know.
be.
But yeah, that's my experience with Scott. Is you go to a brewery or a beer fest with Scott, and he knows everyone, and everyone knows him.
Yep.
And whatever you want is on tap.
Yeah.
Come on in back. Try out this or whatever.
Yeah, it's nice.
Dan from Kincaider, same thing. There are some Nebraska legends.
My father-in-law was just telling me last weekend he went down to the Husker game and they went to Kincaider tap room and Dan was there.
And Dan was there?
He like recognizes my father-in-law. And I was like, why would he know you? He's like, I don't know.
He's I think he's one of those guys that never forgets a face or a name, no matter how many people he's met.
Yeah.
Because he remembered me. Where did I run into him? We were it was up the street here at Tap House. Mm-hmm. And I ran into him again. And this was probably 2 years after Benson Beer Fest. He's like, hey, Scott's friend. Whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, he knew enough to remember
that he'd met you before.
This ugly mug, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, I guess there's a few of those out there.
That's weird how people do that. Because for me, it's like I recognize people, and if it's been over like a certain amount of time, I just pretend I don't know them.
Yeah.
We met, and the thing about, I guess for Dan is like we met, the first time I met him was with my father-in-law. We were in Broken Bow at the brewery.
Oh, okay.
And then we see him again. I think it was in the tap room, maybe in Grand Island or Hastings, one of those places.
Okay.
And then now in Lincoln downtown by the stadium, that's where we know him from now. So, yeah,
Man.
Crazy. All right, Marzen. Let's do this. Traditionally brewed in March with more hops because I had to make it through the summertime.
Right.
Right, so it's doing its thing and added hops just to get through there. A little bit more malt too. Mm-hmm. So stronger in color and in ABV than a lager, but not as strong and darker as color as what we just had.
This is definitely a lighter color.
It was, and this was crazy to me, illegal to brew it. You could only brew it from April 23rd, right?
Yep.
To September 29th. That was the time you could not brew it because it wouldn't be like in season or whatever. So any other time you could do it, but those summer months you could not brew the beer
at all.
Yeah, it was like forbidden.
So you were like brewing it in your basement.
Yeah, maybe, I guess.
And drinking it there.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So this says this should be sweeter than what we had before.
Okay.
Less hoppy. Now, currently in Germany, this is rare. You're not going to find Marzens too often.
Why?
I don't know. It's just the taste changed. You know, like probably like here where everything's a juicy IPA or fruited sour. It smells good though.
Yes. It smells fantastic. The color's beautiful.
I mean, ooh, yeah. There's a little sweetness there.
Oh, I guess
Yeah.
I got it on my nose.
You got to drink it.
She got a picture of that.
Should have.
Should have. Would have. Could have.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So this place, they're called their Festbier, B-I-E-R, the traditional spelling.
Yep.
And you can buy, kind of like what I'm drinking out of. This is my Surly Fest one, but they have their own Oktoberfest mug.
Okay.
And it's $5.50
For the mug.
Yeah, and then you get your first pour for free.
Fantastic.
And then you bring it back anytime you want. It's $1 off the Oktoberfest when you fill it, which is kind of a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
I want to list a couple other beers of theirs. This is the one that we've talked about a few times where they're also kind of a metal brewery. And in Nebraska, we've done one of their beers, I think, before. Which was a famous golfer, sour with a tea.
That's right.
Remember that one?
Yes. Which was unfair because I don't think that was representative of who they are. Necessarily.
Here's the other ones I wrote down. Everything Has Eyes, which is their like New England style IPA. Gaze of the Basilisk, which was their black lager, which is delicious. And then Laser Quest 2.0, an ale with hibiscus. So it's pinkish and rosy.
Is this a throwback to their roots of the tap room where weren't they a laser tag
They were.
place, right?
Yeah,
and they
were.
still have the carpet.
The carpet and the wall paintings.
Yes.
Yes. And that's the research I did today. Laser tag. I did laser tag research today.
You did? For real?
Yeah.
Oh,
So we're going to learn about a little bit of laser tag. So
All
let me tell you about laser tag. First time it was really played was in 1984. So this is pretty new.
I was 10.
The first iteration of it was a toy, and it had like light and mirror sensors. So like it would shoot out a laser beam, and then it would reflect off something else, and that was their thing.
Okay.
And that was in 77, I think. Yeah, 77.
Oh my gosh.
Star Trek. Electronic phaser gun.
Really?
So in 70, that was the first use of this technology. Predates playing laser tag.
Oh.
So they made these toys for kids.
Okay.
You could phase whatever you're going to do, and then here we go, laser tag. This guy named George Carter III, don't forget the third, he has this idea in like 82. He's like, what if I built this thing, a system that would keep track of the points?
Okay.
And I could build like a course inside, and it would just keep track, and you'd know what your score was. I want to try to build that, and that's what he did. And he was in like Dallas, Texas area around that time.
Okay.
So he started working on it because he was watching Star Trek in the 70s and saw the gun thing, whatever they call them, phasers or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like, what if we could do something with that? So then he kind of his job was in this realm, like early computer stuff. 1984, he opens the first place. It was called Photon Center.
Photon.
And that was in Dallas, Texas. So March 28th, 84, technically laser tag, right?
Okay.
In 1986, Photon Toys and also laser tag toys, so they kind of joined the names, were made from this company called Worlds of Wonder. You ever heard of them?
Yes.
What do they make? Do you know?
No.
No idea.
Teddy Ruxpin
No.
and the Nintendo gaming system.
They were the
They were like the American.
They licensed Nintendo from the Japanese.
Yeah, and they were like a producer of the components of the game itself.
Wow.
And that was in Texas in the 80s, right? So then bad business things happen, They invested in some things that weren't great. They go belly up.
Yeah.
88, 89. Also didn't help that there was a high profile. I remember as a kid, there was a story about these kids were playing laser tag and the police pulled up and shot somebody because they thought they were real guns. Do you remember this in the 80s? It was like an urban legend.
Well, we had them.
You had the one with the chest piece? Yeah.
But it wasn't like the laser-looking guns. It was like the 44 Magnum-looking guns.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Jesus.
and like it would actually, like it would make the sound
geez.
and stuff. Yeah, they look pretty real.
You're like, okay, maybe they did shoot them.
So I'm not surprised. But they were the knockoffs. It wasn't like the cool laser tag, like laser ones.
Sure.
It was the ones my parents could afford that you buy at KB Toys.
Okay. Well, yeah, so that happened, and then other people just kind of got sour on the idea, so laser tag started in the mid-'80s and only lasted till like the late 80s for a while. And then it came back. Had a resurgence, right? And they opened these big mega places. I think it's still around. You can do it. Like, you can go find a place in Omaha to do it.
Oh, yeah, there's a few places.
But it's not
Omaha.
like it was. Like, for a while there, it was like kind of the thing to do as a teenager on a Friday night or whatever.
We've actually done it as a company outing before.
Yeah,
right.
There's a place called the Mark in Elkhorn.
Oh, yeah, out there.
I think I dominated Dolan pretty good.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I won every game I was a part of. I am amazing.
We'll have to check the tapes on that one.
Yeah.
Here's my German tie-in. Laser tag and paintball was illegal until very recently in Germany.
In Germany, what?
They had a school shooting, singular, like one in 2009, and they're like, nah, no more of this.
Wow.
You can't do paintball, you can't do laser tag. And it wasn't until like last year that they were allowing those things to reopen.
Really?
I love paintball. Like, it's one of my favorite things to do.
I do dig some paintball.
I've never done it. I've been hit with paintballs before, but I've never actually been on a paintball course.
It's okay. So being hit by a paintball when you're not paintballing hurts 10 times worse than when you're actually paintballing.
Yeah.
True.
I feel like it's like an adrenaline thing because, like,
Oh, yeah.
you're out there paintballing, you get hit with the paintball, and you're like, darn, you
Dang
know.
it, I'm out.
I'm out. I gotta put my
Right,
hand up.
I'm out.
Yep.
Your stupid cousin Jim shoots you with a paintball. You're like,
Yeah.
He got lucky. Yeah.
yeah.
I know how that goes.
You learn all the tricks. You could dry fire, so so someone thinks that you're shooting, and then you actually shoot.
Then
Yes.
you shoot him.
Yeah, because
Yes.
paintballs are expensive.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
What a
that's-
trick.
For sure. And you got to go to the places that don't, like, they allow full power air.
Yeah.
Because some of the places, like CJ's in Lincoln, like, they give you, like, half air. So your paintball, like, lobs.
Just was like, bloop.
Yeah, and sometimes it doesn't break on the person. and
Oh,
you're like,
boy.
what is this?
It's a funny old medical solutions story from back in the day. Okay, so that's when me, Steve Seitner, Kurt Chase, Steve Ryan, Rachel Christensen, we were all at Medical Solutions back in the day, and there was an indoor place over off of like 90th and Maple, and it was small. It wasn't very big, but it was indoors, kind of downstairs, and we were playing like speed rounds. And they would let us have 2 guns at one time. And so Seitner comes out with 2 guns.
Oh, boy.
And he just unloads on Rachel Christensen.
Desperado, yeah.
And Rachel Christensen's not, I mean, she's a smaller girl, but she could hold her own on a paintball course. She was out in the open, and Seitner's just bam, bam, double barrel unloading her. And he stops, and she goes, "I was out!" Just as loud as she could.
Yeah.
And like everybody stopped. Oh. And then everybody stood up, and the Seitner just unloaded on all the
Blasting
rest
on
of
everybody?
them. Yeah.
Wow, he's cold-blooded. huh?
Cold-blooded.
He's such a nice guy. He never expect it.
I was out.
He's out for blood on the course.
Yep.
Watch out for Seitner. Let's read the can. Every year in late September and early October, which is where we're at,
Right.
over 6 million people make their way to the German city of Munich to celebrate Oktoberfest. This lager is Cosmic Eye's tribute to the largest beer festival on earth. Prost. Lederhosen not required. Although Tim's wearing them.
Tim would wear it,
So he
right?
says it is required.
Hell, I would wear it.
That's their little message. And then the rest of it is kind of like, do this. We make beer for things that we want to drink and blah, blah, blah. This is the brewery that has a crafting center. So it's like a heavy metal bar. And then also they have a place for kids to go do crafts, which is like whatever, right? The guy...
I mean, that is pretty metal. Like, if you think about it, it's pretty
right?
metal.
It is kind of. It like comes out on the other side, and it is. Yeah. I can't remember what the guy's name is off the top of my head now, but his wife and co-owner and bartender, she goes by Wolf Mama.
Ooh.
So they have a beer that is like Curse of the Wolf Mama or something like
Nice.
that. So all their beers are kind of in that vein, of like horror movies, metal, heavy metal song stuff. There's like a heavy metal Concert and Beer Fest. I think it's like in Pennsylvania or somewhere.
Okay.
And they're like one of the big brewers at that place. Like they're pumping it up right now on Facebook. Like,
Wow.
who's got tickets to come out to the Metal Beer Fest? You're like, okay.
Okay.
I mean, that's sure, go for it.
This is someplace I need to take my son because Maddox is 12, and I was telling Aaron Daly super judged me the other day. This was last week. He's like, "Hey, what are you gonna do this weekend?" Or whatever. It was on Friday. What are you gonna do this weekend? I'm like, I don't know. My wife's out of town, so it's just me and the boy.
Yeah.
And so I asked him. I'm like, hey, what do you want to do? And he's like, Storm Chasers in town. We're gonna watch some baseball. I'm like, nah, they won't be in town till next week. He's like, you want to go cross train? I'm like, Maddox, you're 12. You're not gonna. We're not. You. I don't think you can ask me if we can go to a brewery. Like,
Well, yeah.
But he loves going there. Like,
Yeah.
this is someplace I should take him. If there's like he would love that.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a fun spot, and it is legit an old laser tag place. So it's a really big building.
Yep.
They have food trucks like almost every weekend. I think they're one of those places where I'm pretty sure you can just bring stuff in. One of my favorite things about this place, whenever they get, we've done Yelp reviews or whatever. Mm-hmm. When they get a really bad one, they make T-shirts of it, and it's the staff shirt. So they'll say, "Oh yeah, okay, cool, thank you for the 5-star review. Now it's our shirt."
That is metal.
That is so metal.
Man.
And that's what they do. But they've been open for a couple years now, and they're over. If you're familiar in Lincoln of East Park, they're over by East Park Mall, where it used to be East Park Mall.
Yeah.
Back there.
Ironically, this Friday I have to go to Lincoln because I'm buying I'm buying something off Facebook Marketplace from a dude in Lincoln.
Oh.
An old Nirvana concert poster.
Oh, nice.
Which may or may not be real. I'm going to spend $40. If it's real, fantastic. If it's not, it's
still cool.
It's only $40. Who cares?
Yeah.
But it's over by East Park Mall, so we may stop
There you
by
go.
here.
You should, yeah. Get one of these on tap.
Oh my gosh, I like this beer a lot.
Yeah, me too.
A lot. That's I am so happy you brought this in. Both of them. I think both of them.
Yeah,
they're
they're
in their
both good.
own way.
Yeah, well, very different, obviously, because they're different styles and whatnot. But you can definitely go get these on tap both places. You can get the Crowler to go at Boiler. If you go to the South Boiler location, they have them already pre-filled. I think they do that still in the downtown too. But yeah, just a all around good beer. My father-in-law really likes the Drunkel Tim. He likes these dark style German beers.
Oh, I could definitely see why. Right? I definitely see why.
So that's my research.
TripAdvisor.
Okay.
I only did it for Boiler.
Okay.
Because I wasn't sure. I didn't know if this was bonus beer, if Cosmic Eye was bonus beer or what. I thought we'd just make it a Lincoln thing. All right. So we'll just do Boiler.
Okay.
And I thought this one was fun because it says not your typical microbrew. 4.5 out of 5 on 47 reviews.
Okay.
This was a 5-star review. Boiler Brewing is always a favorite. Their brewers are not afraid to get a little creative. We liked the beer we had at the tap room so much we bought 2 crowlers of other beer to try at home. The You Got Peanut Butter in My Chocolate
Stout, yeah.
was exceptional.
Yeah, that
and
was good.
I believe I've had that.
You might have.
Kudos to the staff for doing a great job of being attentive in restrictive COVID guideline fashion.
They always have more servers than you think they're going to need. Like when you walk in there, like all these people are working, but it makes a difference, especially on a busy day. You don't have to wait for a beer.
Yep.
I was at someplace recently, and we had to wait forever. There was one person working. I was just like, come on. It's a Saturday. There should be more than one person here. It was not great. So you're not going to usually run into that down there.
I have decided that I'm just going to, what I believe should be the wait time, I'm going to double that just based on the world we live in
Nowadays,
right now.
yeah.
So
Just be happy they're open.
Right.
Yeah. One of my favorite pizza places I saw the other day, they're like, we're closed Monday through Friday now. Oh, okay. Can't get staff.
Fantastic.
Well, I guess we'll get pizza on Saturday.
All right, Untapped. Let's do Drunkel Tim first.
I've checked into it.
You have one time.
Was it last year?
It was last year, yeah.
Yeah.
Only 607 check-ins, so not many.
I mean, it's a seasonal. They
Giving
don't
it a
always have
4.25 right away.
That-
I love this one a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do 4.5 on it. I think that's a
So
yeah.
I think it's going to be 3.88. That's what I think it's going to be.
I was gonna go 3.89.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna be so upset. 3.86. You're both right there. Both right there.
Price is right. At
But
me.
but right there though. I mean
Yeah.
that's
Well, you would have got the Ding, 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 ding,
Yeah,
ding.
you would have got it.
Yeah,
So
that's sweet.
I looked up the Cosmic Eye beer too because I didn't do that one,
Uh-huh.
but I looked this one up. So you have, well, let's see. It was not you. Friend of the show, Justin, has checked this in. He said, "Prost, y'all." 3.75.
I don't think I've checked this one in. I don't think
you
I've had
have
it
not.
before.
No. 337 check-ins.
That's
so
a lot smaller.
2 regional beers,
Whoa.
obviously, but available in cans.
Yes.
So, I mean, at least the Cosmic Eye. I don't know
Yeah.
about Drunkel Tim. I
Nope.
mean, that was a crowler we
Just
bought
a
there.
crowler, yep.
337 check-ins. Where do you think we land on this one? You're
gonna
you're
let him go
deliberate,
first this
right? You're
time.
deliberate about what you're looking
Yeah.
for.
I'm going 382.
I'm going to go 3.79.
3.72. Well, but close, right? I mean, that's...
That's a extra drinkable, I'll buy it again rating.
I am going to Hy-Vee tonight to get groceries,
Yeah.
and I will buy a 6-pack of this. This is a 4.75 for me all day long.
Whoa.
I like
Nice.
this a lot, and it's
Wow.
6.1.
Yeah. Not bad.
Yes.
Not too shabby.
That's metal right there for a German.
Pump it up on the Marzen scale.
6.1. Come on.
Yeah.
There it is. I mean, 6.2. We're talking IPAs, right? I mean, we're in IPA land.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right. Next week, more Oktoberfest fun. I'm going to talk about the German purity law a little bit.
Oh, okay.
We
The
got
one I
into-
had a hard time saying.
Reinheitsgebot.
Gesundheit.
I actually listened to the pronunciation on Google just to get it,
I
and that's
spelled it
even not even
phonetically,
close.
and I couldn't get it right.
Reinheits, G-E,
Gebot.
Gebaut, B-O-U-T, Gebaut, Reinheitsgebot. I would be a terrible German. I apologize if there's any Germans listening. Anyway, we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to have we are going to have a traditional German Marzen.
Yep.
That's brewed in Denver, Colorado.
Yes.
Whoa.
Figure that one out next week on the show. Until then, we're not going anywhere for a while.
Let's have another beer.
Thank you for listening to A Beer with Atlas. Special thanks to our brand team for producing the show. Each episode of A Beer with Atlas is powered by Atlas MedStaff, an industry leader in travel healthcare staffing.